In the dusty haze of a Montana sunset, where the sky bled orange over endless plains, Jack Harlan stood alone on the wooden platform of Willow Creek Station. His calloused hands gripped the brim of his weathered Stetson, twisting it nervously as the distant whistle of the train pierced the quiet. They faced stampedes, blizzards, and bandits without flinching, but today, his heart thundered like a wild Mustang. They had sent him a bride, a mail-order match from back east, arranged through an agency for lonely frontiersmen like him. Her name was Eliza, and her letters spoke of quiet dreams and a longing for wide-open spaces. But as the locomotive chugged to a halt, spewing steam like a weary beast, Jack wondered if a man scarred by loss could ever deserve such a gift. Eliza stepped down from the passenger car, her simple calico dress fluttering in the breeze, a small carpet bag clutched in her pale hands. She was smaller than he'd imagined, with auburn hair pinned modestly and eyes that darted like a frightened doe. No words passed between them at first. She offered a shy nod, and he managed a gruff welcome to Montana, ma'am. The ride back to his ranch in the buckboard wagon was silent save for the creak of wheels and the clip-clop of horses. Jack stole glances at her, noting how she folded her hands in her lap, fingers intertwined as if holding herself together. It wasn't much for talk, years of solitude had carved him into a man of few words, but he felt an unfamiliar pull, a desire to ease whatever shadows lingered in her gaze. The wedding was a simple affair the next morning at the town clerk's office, witnessed by a grizzled preacher and a couple of ranch hands. Jack paid a nickel each to stand in. Eliza's voice trembled as she repeated her vows, here I do barely above a whisper. Jack slipped a plain gold band on her finger, feeling the weight of it like an anchor in uncharted waters. Back at the ranch, a modest cabin nestled against rolling hills dotted with cattle, he showed her around with awkward pride, the sturdy barn, the vegetable patch he'd tended alone, the hearth where he'd spent countless nights staring into flames, haunted by memories of a fever that had claimed his first wife and infant son 5 years prior. Eliza moved quietly, unpacking her few belongings, a Bible, a faded quilt, and a locked wooden box she placed carefully on the dresser without explanation. As days blurred into a tentative rhythm, Jack found himself softening in ways he hadn't expected. Eliza was shy to the point of invisibility at times, speaking only when spoken to, her smiles rare but genuine when they bloomed. She cooked simple meals, cornbread and stew that warmed more than his belly, and mended his shirts with neat stitches that spoke of practiced care. Yet she avoided his eyes during conversations, retreating into chores or long walks along the creek. Jack didn't press, he knew pain when he saw it, the kind that made a person curl inward like a leaf in frost. He shared stories of the land, of branding calves under starlit skies and the thrill of a successful cattle drive, hoping to draw her out. Slowly, she offered glimpses. She'd grown up in a Boston orphanage, worked as a seamstress, and answered the agencies at seeking a fresh start. I wanted to be useful, she said one evening over supper, her voice soft as cotton. Jack nodded, feeling a kinship in her words. Usefulness was all that had kept him going after his losses. But beneath the quiet domesticity, an undercurrent stirred. Eliza's shyness bordered on secrecy. She'd startle at sudden noises, and at night, Jack heard her pacing the floorboards when she thought he slept. It caught her once, staring at that locked box with tears in her eyes, but she brushed it off as homesickness. Jack respected her space, channeling his energy into small acts of kindness, picking wildflowers for the table, repairing a loose step on the porch so she wouldn't trip. He remembered his ma's words from childhood, kindness is the rope that pulls folks out of the dark. So he tied those knots, one by one, hoping they'd hold. The first night they shared as husband and wife came sooner than either anticipated, a storm rolling in from the mountains forcing them indoors early. Rain lashed the windows like angry fists, thunder rumbling as if the heavens themselves were unsettled. They retired to the bedroom, the air thick with unspoken tension. Jack sat on the edge of the bed, boots off, his broad shoulders slumped in uncertainty. Eliza slipped behind a screen to change into her nightgown, emerging with her hair loose, cascading like a river over her shoulders. She climbed under the quilts, her body rigid, eyes fixed on the ceiling. Jack, she whispered, her voice breaking the silence like a fragile branch. There's something I must tell you. Before anything. His heart skipped, sensing the weight in her tone. Whatever it is, Eliza, you can say it. We're in this together now. She turned to him then, her green eyes shimmering with unshed tears, and reached for the wooden box on the nightstand. With trembling fingers, she unlocked it, revealing not jewels or letters, but a bundle of faded photographs, a child's worn teddy bear, and a stack of yellowed newspaper clippings. I wasn't entirely honest in my letters, she confessed, her words tumbling out like a dam breaking. I didn't come here just for a new life. I came because of you, because of what you did 10 years ago. Jack's brow furrowed, confusion etching his rugged features. She handed him a clipping, the headline bold even in the dim lamplight. Hero cowboy saves orphan train from derailment. Memories flooded back unbidden, the screech of metal, the cries of children as the train he'd been riding guard on jumped the tracks in a Wyoming blizzard. He'd risked his life, pulling kids from the wreckage, carrying them through snowdrifts to safety. 20 souls saved, the papers said, but Jack had buried the praise deep, focusing on his ranch to forget the nightmares. How do you know about that? He asked, voice hoarse. Elisa's lips quivered. Because I was one of them, Jack. I was 8 years old, on that orphan train headed west for adoption. You carried me out, me and my little brother, Tommy. You wrapped us in your coat, sang to us until help came. Tommy didn't make it, the cold took him days later. But you gave me a chance. I never forgot your face, your kindness. When I saw the agency's ad with your name, Jack Harlan, Montana rancher seeking companion, I knew it was fate. I applied, hid my past because I was afraid you'd think me foolish or indebted. But I'm here to repay that debt, to show you the same selflessness you showed me. The room spun as Jack stared at the photograph she held out, a grainy image of the rescue, him cradling a small girl in his arms. It was her, the eyes were unmistakable. His hands began to shake, the clipping trembling as waves of emotion crashed over him. Soak, first, how had the world looped back like this? Then realization, this shy woman, sent as a bride, was the living echo of his greatest act of humanity. Tears blurred his vision, hands quaking not from fear, but from the profound weight of connection, of lives intertwined by a single moment of compassion. Elisa. I don't know what to say, he stammered, voice cracking. She reached out, her small hand steadying his. You don't have to say anything. You've already given so much. All those children you saved. We grew up hearing stories of the cowboy who wouldn't let the storm win. It inspired me to help others, to volunteer at the orphanage where I was raised. But coming here, it's my way of closing the circle. Of showing that one act of kindness can ripple forever. As the storm raged outside, they talked through the night, Jack's hands still shaking with the raw surge of feelings, grief for his lost family mingling with gratitude for this unexpected gift. He shared his pains, the emptiness that had hollowed him, and Eliza listened, her shyness melting into quiet strength. In that vulnerability, an unexpected turn unfolded. Jack realized his isolation had been self-imposed, a shield against more loss. But here was proof that humanity's power lay in reaching out, in the selfless threads that bind us. Dawn crept in, painting the sky pink, and Jack's tremors eased as he held her close, not as a stranger, but as a partner forged in fire and snow. In the weeks that followed, their bond deepened, rooted in mutual kindness. Eliza blossomed, her laughter filling the cabin as she helped with the ranch, her past no longer a shadow but a shared foundation. Jack, transformed, began volunteering at the local school, teaching kids about survival and compassion, inspired by the woman who'd crossed a continent to remind him of his own heart. One evening, as they watched the sun dip below the hills, Eliza turned to him. You saved me once, Jack. Now, we've saved each other. And in that simple truth lay the heartwarming uplift. Kindness, given freely, returns in ways unimaginable, weaving hope into the fabric of even the loneliest lives. Jack Harlan, the cowboy with shaking hands, found his dawn not in solitude, but in the enduring power of humanity's gentle embrace.